June 2018, 20-year-old Lars Nootbaar from El Segundo, California gets picked in the 8th round of the Major League Baseball draft. The 3-time league MVP for the El Segundo High School Eagles and the 3-year starter for the USC Trojans has just been chosen by the St. Louis Cardinals. Welcome to the Redbirds, Mr. Nootbaar.
I'm Charlie Nootbaar, father of 3, Nigel, Nicole, and Lars. Obviously, we're here to talk more about Lars, who has made a lot of us proud, as does our other children, but this one seems to have gotten a little more famous than the others, so we'll talk about Lars today.
There's a go. Drive deep to right field. Smith and Jigba says goodbye. Pepper grinder time. Nootbaar with a lightning bolt ties this game. And Lars Nootbaar waits and drives the first one a mile high to right. That's how you start a ball game. A leadoff home run. Lifted high in the air toward left. Dickerson back. Track wall. Hey, it's gone and 1-0. St. Louis. Nootbaar hits his 6th home.
As a young kid, we knew he had some, aptitude to some coordination and skill. He was always trying to keep up with his older brother.
Where has Lars Nootbaar been all my life? I've been in El Segundo, California.
And so we always had toys in the backyard for them to play with. And I specifically remember a little wiffle golf set where he had a little light plastic golf ball and golf club, and would spend as much time as we'd let him out there just hitting balls in the backyard on the grass, right-handed or left-handed. I think he actually naturally started left-handed. When he was younger, and all of our kids were younger, we had them playing all different types of sports. I grew up playing all different types of sports with my neighborhood friends, whatever season it was. Baseball in the summer, football in the fall, basketball in the winter. Whatever it was, we were out there playing that particular sport. I have fond memories of doing that. And so we were both my wife Kumi and I were on board with trying to raise our kids in that environment. I played baseball in high school, walked on in college, was able to make a college team. Kumi played softball growing up. So, there was definitely some sports genes in there that helped facilitate what happened with our kids. By the time he got to high school, he had been playing a lot of different sports, but once you get to high school, you just kind of have to narrow it down. And he had started playing Pop Warner football in junior high school and really enjoyed that. He was a quarterback for the team. He was very, very good as a quarterback, even at that level. So when he got to high school, it was pretty obvious that he was going to continue to play football. And in fact, if you'd asked him what his favorite sport to play was, he would tell you football. There's something about the team camaraderie in football that, although baseball is a team sport, it's played more of an individual context in terms of you're just kind of one-on-one against the pitcher or vice versa. Whereas in football, it takes a coordinated effort by all the players to really succeed, and there's a bigger bond there. And so he certainly loves baseball, and I think he's learned to love it more and more as he continues to play it. And he will probably tell you that the fact that he played multiple sports all the way through high school is a big factor in how he got to the big leagues. So you really have to love the game, and I think that's why you see the guys that are in the big leagues cheering and celebrating each other just like they were in high school again. And because they've never lost that love for the game, they know it's a job, they know they're getting paid to do it, but they're also there because they love the game. And if you don't have that love, the game will wear you down and flush you out. And it's why you see a lot of guys just can't get through the minor leagues, let alone college or any other level, if you just don't truly love to get after it and practice as much as playing and all that stuff. So you really do have to love it. And you see that emotion in the big leaguers because they do love the game and they love being around their teammates. And they're basically, adults playing kids' game because they're still kids inside. They're completely lucky to be able to get paid for something that they really enjoy doing. I mean, we all have heard that saying, find an occupation that you love and you'll never work a day in your life, right? And for him, that is the case, right? That they found an occupation that they love, and fortunately, he's skilled enough to play at the highest level. When he was getting recruited for baseball, got recruited and committed to play at USC when he was a sophomore. But there was a lot of thought of him playing football in college. He doesn't know it, but I had always kind of pushed him away from football because he had gotten injured a few times in high school, and that tends to magnify at the different levels that you go up. If you're getting hurt at one level, you tend to get even worse at the next level up. And although I think he had the talent to play at an elite level in college, and even really as well as some of the guys that are in the NFL, physically I don't know if he would have lasted. I don't think he would have been able to take the punishment that they take. And I felt like his long-term viability was going to be in baseball. And people don't realize how hard it is on the body, even baseball, how hard it is on the body. Having to, you only see what you see during the game, which is 2.5 hours. You think, oh, that's great, they go home. But they're on the field 5 to 6 hours before the game, and then they're after the game and they're getting treatments. And this is 162 games in 6 months. They're literally playing, 28 times a month. So imagine if you and I had to go to work 28 days out of 30, how that would make you feel. You would start to burn out as well, and physically, even just going to sit in an office would become a difficult chore, if not physically, mentally. To put a little perspective, yes, they get paid well to do it, but it doesn't change how you have to prepare yourself mentally, physically, because it is a grind.
Pepper grinder time. Nootbaar with a lightning bolt ties this game.
I didn't know exactly when I was going to get drafted. Randy Flores was my brother's pitching coach in college for a year, and so I don't think he had my phone number. And called my brother, who then relayed the phone to me to tell me that I was getting drafted.
It is safe to say we've got ourselves a new fan favorite in Noot.
That's a funny story, but also a moment that I'll never forget, because obviously it's led to this moment, and so forever grateful for that day.
So no, it was very exciting. We had gone through this before because his brother had gotten drafted 4 years earlier by the Baltimore Orioles. So we'd been through the process once before, so we kind of had an understanding of how it works. His brother had already been released by the Orioles and was out of the game by the time Lars was drafted. And I think that helped him a bit because he got to see the process his older brother went through.
Going through college, going through the recruiting, going through the draft, having a guy that's been there and done that, and just like giving you some of the ropes, making sure you're doing the right things, kind of giving you a perspective of somebody that's gone through, that's kind of been through the stresses, that really kind of eases everything for you. And then now he's always been a great motivator for me, and being like, baseball is a lot better than what you could be doing, So when I go through the slumps in the minor leagues and I'd go through some of those rough patches, he's always a guy that I can lean on.
People think, well, he gets drafted, it'll just be a matter of time before they climb through the minor leagues and get to the big leagues. And that's just not the case. If you're lucky, 20% of those that get drafted will end up even getting to the big leagues, and even fewer staying in the big leagues. So it's a very difficult process. For whatever reason, they saw something in Lars, and they kept pushing him up to see if he could amount to the challenge of being at the next level. So going from, rookie ball or to A ball to AA to AAA. They just kept pushing him year after year and seeing if he could make those jumps. And he showed that he could continue to make that jump. But I do think he is a fan favorite in St. Louis. So as I've hopefully taught my kids, stay focused in the moment. Don't try to project, because you could be out of this game in 2 years or next year or whatever. And so trying to think too far ahead can make you stumble. For me, I just stay focused on his approach. Did he have a good at-bat? Did he not have a good at-bat? Good swing, not a good swing, good pitch selection. That tells me more than his batting average will tell me. And I can see whether he's doing well, even though he may have lined the ball out and gotten out. He had a good at-bat. To me, that's all I want to see is he having good at-bats? And if he is, then I don't worry so much. It's when I see him not having great at bats, even if a bad at bat means he had a bloop single. To me, that doesn't say anything. It helps your batting average, but I have hopefully, and I think he understands this, that you stay focused at the task at hand, and then the results will come, and you don't have to worry about it. Just stay focused at the task, and the results will come.
あの瞬間も、それまでも、そして今も、彼の挑戦は終わらない。
つかめ力インバープロテイン。
Well, they had a very progressive manager, Mr. Kuriyama, who had coached Shohei Ohtani when Ohtani was still playing in Japan. We were fortunate because Kuriyama was looking to broaden the base of players that he would choose from for Japan, and was actually looking at 2 or 3 Japanese Americans whose parents, at least one of the parents was born in Japan. Lars actually had Japanese citizenship when he was born. He was carrying a passport as a child. So he's eligible for Japanese citizenship because he was born to a Japanese national. He's been registered on the family registry in Japan. So he was one of a few players in the major leagues who qualified in that regard. And so Mr. Kuriyama approached Lars through Ohtani's interpreter and asked if Lars would be interested in playing for Team Japan. And of course, Lars said absolutely, would love to do it.
Lars Nootbaar, Shohei Ohtani, his interpreter's right there with us as well. Guys, how do you wrap your mind around this game? Lars, I'll start with you.
I can't. I really can't. The emotions are going crazy right now. I mean, this team's got fight in it, man. That's the only thing I can say. I'm so happy to just be a little piece of this, man. It's unbelievable. The fans, the team, everything. It's crazy, man. That's all I can say.
None of the teams want their players to play in that WBC because they're worried about guys getting hurt. So there's always trepidation. They tried to convince Lars, he was still not an established player for the Cardinals, having only a year and a half of experience in the big leagues, and they were worried that this wouldn't be a great benefit to him and or the Cardinals. But Major League Baseball as an organization runs the WBC, so their position supersedes the teams. So if a player wants to play, they can't hold back a guy from playing. And so Lars decided to do it, even though he knew the Cardinals were shy on the idea, but publicly they said they were fine with it. Privately, we knew that they were not. That's okay. I mean, I understand both positions, right? If you have a kid that you want to have play for you and are worried that he would get hurt doing something else, you'd be nervous about it too. He did not get hurt, right? No, and turned out to be an amazing experience, basically life-changing for Lars and for the family, having them go on to win the WBC and getting to experience all that, going to Japan and playing in the Tokyo Dome and watching those games and the media attention and just kind of the insanity that comes with all of that over there was really incredible.
今日のヒーロー、ラーズ・ヌートバー選手です。侍ジャパンとしてのヒーローインタビュー、このお立ち台、今の気持ちはいかがですか？
Feels great. Proud to be a Japan member, and always good to get a win.
もう最高の気分です。日本代表のメンバーの一員となれてとても誇りに思いますし、勝ててよかったです。
They had an interpreter assigned to him that stayed with him at all times, and his agent employs a Japanese interpreter because they also represent a few other Japanese players, and they were very, very good, very helpful in making sure the process was smooth. So there were a few, Ohtani had his interpreter, Darvish had his interpreter, so there were plenty of guys around to help Lars with communication when he was on the team. Yeah, I do get asked, as a parent, what did you do? What do you feel like was an important part of getting Lars, through that process of from, youth to high school to college, and now all the way up to the big leagues. And, how much did you push him, all this stuff. There are a couple of things that I, looking back on that I think intuitively I got right. One was I didn't push them very hard, in the sense that I tried to pull them versus pushing. So if he signed up for something, like if he signed up for roller hockey, Kumi and I were adamant that he was going to finish. He was going to go to all the practices. There were no excuses because he was tired or he didn't want to go. When you make a commitment, you oblige to that commitment. And so they learned that early on. If they were going to, commit to something, all of his friends were going to go to the beach and he had all-star practice. Well, that's too bad. You've got all-star practice. You've got to go, right? So we were pretty adamant on making sure that whatever you committed to, you finish. After Nigel got to high school, we did not go on any family vacations. And that was the kind of family commitment we made, because since our boys were playing both baseball and football, it meant that they were doing baseball all spring, which also meant in the summertime they were playing all-star tournaments into the summer. And then when all-stars were done, they went right into football practice. And because he had committed to playing football or he committed to playing baseball, we weren't one of those families that called the coach and say, hey, we're going to be on vacation, we're going. We ended up making our vacations the ones in which we went to wherever the teams were playing. We always joked that one of the best vacations we ever had was to El Centro, California, which, if you don't know, is a desert town with nothing there and temperatures in the 120s in summer. And in fact, that summer when our older son Nigel was playing there, it was 120 during the day, so they didn't start a game until after sundown, and they'd have 2 games. So the second game wouldn't start until about 10:30 at night, because it's just too hot to play when the sun is up. And we would stay up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and be out in the pool at the little motel pool, because it's just so ridiculously hot during the day, and sleep late. And the kids just had a ball doing that. We spent a week outside Fresno at a tournament. Again, not one of your vacation spots, but the kids had a great time, just hanging out with other kids from other families. And those became our vacations, was just, taking the kids to wherever they were playing. So that was one of them, was we as a family would make a commitment. If they started something, they were going to finish and be committed to it. The other was, I didn't push too hard. I didn't try to, after a game, we rarely ever talked about the game. Kids don't listen after games. You can sit there and talk to them all you want. They don't listen. I learned that early on. So I coached him until he got through Little League. Maybe when he was in Babe Ruth, I was also an assistant coach to help out the guys. But after that, I let him go and let him play for other coaches that I could see were teaching the right things, because they just don't want to hear from Dad anymore. And I learned not to talk about baseball too much. And to this day, when he calls, we don't talk baseball. It's just what's going on at home, what's happening here, who's talking to who, family stuff. We just catch up on that, because he's looking to escape baseball when he's talking to us and when he's dealing with us. Certainly it comes up now and again, but I never, as much as I watch games, I want to show him what he's not doing right at the plate and how I could help him, with his approach. I don't do it. It doesn't serve me any good. It just creates more friction in the relationship. And so what I did was I provided the guardrails and let him kind of navigate the road himself. So I was like the bumper rails on a bowling alley, and let him bowl the ball just to keep him from going off the rails. But he was going to have to learn some of the hard things on his own, because no matter how much you want to say as a parent, sometimes they just have to burn their finger to figure it out on their own. And so we let them burn their finger now and again. rather than try to, bulldoze a path for him, which never works. You see these parents that try to make life really easy for their kids, and then when something goes wrong, they don't know how to manage it. And so we were fine with some struggle, having the kids figure out how to manage through their struggles. And if they really needed help, they would come and we would support them and figure out ways to solve that problem. But they had to figure out how to ask us or whenever they needed help. But by the time he got to high school, I was always willing to go toss the ball with him, let him hit balls. Kumi did the same thing. She spent hours in the backyard just doing a little soft toss with him. She could toss the ball and he would hit balls into a net or whatever. So we were always there, ready to help, but he had to want the help. We were not going to push him. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Occasionally you got to nudge because they'll push back, and we would nudge, but we wouldn't push. We would nudge, but we wouldn't push. We would let them know that they may make a commitment. So if you really want to be good at something, you're going to have to put in the extra work. And for the most part, they did.
She's my everything. She's my best friend. And is this live right now?
This is live right now.
Oh my gosh. You get me emotional, man. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I don't know why I'm getting emotional right now, man.
Thank you for the flower. Special
Absolutely.
delivery.
Thanks for everything.
I love you, baby.
I love you too. Man, you guys are messing me up, man. That's my best friend. You guys are doing this to me, man.
I know. He's a crier. He cries a lot.
I only get emotional when I see her. That's I love you, Mom.